and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you, believe it or not, with my co-host David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. We got a good show, and it's going to be our, believe it or not, my 1000th video.
Ooh.
Big hand of applause.
No, but seriously. 1,000.
Yeah,
and it's going to be 165 for you and me tonight. So
167.
167?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was 165. I'm behind.
Yeah.
Did you do two without me? Well, everybody, I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And as always, Robert and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator, and that we continue to pray that you all will help to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe, and that you stay healthy this spring and summer, because I got a cold.
That's right. So y'all get out there and send David some good healing energy tonight, because he needs it if we're going to make it through. Yeah, but anyway, he'll be fine. We hope. We'll just give him the time, and you guys just bear with us. We're doing the best we can, and you know, it is what it is. You're gonna pick out that thing, and I'm gonna get going with my stuff. Oh man, we got I'm trying to remember what traditions of the Hopi. That's right, that's what the book was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I've also got Glooskap's country and other tales.
Yeah, but you want to do the Hopi, because I'm doing Navajo, and we're going to talk about the Navajo and the Zuni tonight. So,
well, let's stick with the Hopi stories then. And
yes, we're gonna be on the Hopi for a little while here, and the Hopi, the Zuni, the Navajo, they were kind of one, close tribe. I mean, I know they're different tribes, so people don't think I'm confused, because they are. It's like saying that you're German and you're Polish, or you're Russian and you're Czechoslovakian. You're different nationalities, but you kind of live in the same general area. Your languages are similar, your traditions are similar. You share a lot of common ancestry. So, with that, bear with me, everybody. We're gonna talk about some of that stuff. There we go. There's my native album. But yeah, there. Excuse me. And somehow I got the hiccups the last, couple of days. Man, I don't know why. But anyway, we got Zuni pictures tonight to share. Yeah, once I get this put over yonder, doesn't seem to want to go. But yeah, we're gonna share a little bit of that. I bought this video, or it wasn't a video, it was a CD with a lot of pictures on it of Native Americans, and I'd like to share some. This is the what do I got here? The Zuni. It says the Tiwa, and the Zuni portfolio, and I'm going to share it with all of you guys, because we seem to learn a lot from pictures. And then we're going to talk a little bit about these tribes, because who doesn't like to talk about the tribes? Here we go. Share
other tribes.
Yeah, other tribes. Hey, that was their one big downfall. I hate to say it, but the Native Americans had one big downfall, and that was that they fought amongst themselves, and then after they pretty much the white man came along. They realized, I think, at the end, and said, "Hey, you know what? We're all, and we should stay. Let's join together. You may be my enemy, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend." But by that time, it was just too late. It was definitely too late. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Scotty Boy is in the house. Love you, gang. He says, Chris Smith says, oil of oregano. Did you try some of that? Comes in liquid capsules and stuff like that, David. You got any of that from oregano? I know oregano will burn your tummy up, but
no. But I
huh?
do have Mucinex.
Oh, there you go.
And other stuff. I mean, I just got home. I mean, literally, y'all, I just got home.
You've been on a road trip. Elderberry's in the house. He says, I think he's got COVID. Now we got Savagely, Witchy Moon. She says, hugs everybody. Thank you, Witchy Moon, for coming on tonight. Big shout out to Chloe. She says, hey, Robert and Hawkeye. Yes. Chloe, hardest working woman out there, right? Birthday boy, happy Scotty Boy's birthday. Holy cow. If I'd have known that, I'd had a whole show on it. Whew. And I might have not wore pants. Joanne dancing gypsy. Of course, I wouldn't have showed you guys, the beauty of YouTube, chest up. Just in honor of Scotty Boy. Anyway, Scotty Boy, you'll never catch me without wearing pants. Although I do have a big announcement that Nina the Mystic has now put on some new merch at her store. And she does have summer shorts that say Milky Way Soul Tribe on them. And if you want shorts, not pants, but shorts to wear for the summer, get on over there and get yourself some Milky Way Soul Tribe shorts for the summer. And there you go. So happy birthday, Scotty Boy. Tell you what,
Scotty Boy, all I can say is I'm going commando for you.
There you go. There you go. Scotty Boy, in your honor, commando style. He's probably thinking right now, I'm a commando all the time. What are you talking about? Anyway.
Well, I didn't say that now.
Oh, no. Yeah. Anyway. But anyway, it's all good. It's all good. We just got to have a little fun with it. Happy birthday, Scotty Boy. Enjoy the day as we talk about the Native Americans on our 1000th show. Scotty Boy is like, 25,000 days old now, And, but anyway, so we got the Zunies. Here are Zuni pictures. Tiwa and Zuni. Remember, they lived in the Pueblos. I don't know if we can zoom in and see some of the what it says in the corners. It says something of the Zuni. This is a Zuni Pueblo, and as you can see, they have these ladders again, as we talked about once before, where they, climb up into their houses, and they layer their houses one upon another, and they use stones, as you can see. So if we zoom in here, they make stones, or they have stones, or they make bricks, one or the other, and then they cover them with clay or something, and that makes the Pueblo. They use very little wood. As you can see, they probably use some wood here for the roofing, probably threw down some grass, and then covered it with mud and clay, forming a roof. Of course, this area doesn't get a whole lot of rain, and I imagine if you did get a lot of rain, well, it wouldn't hold up as well. But you can see by this little platform here that they did make a drain for when it does rain. I mean, any good person can see that. It's like a gutter. But unique buildings. You got to imagine, to be in the Midwest and you're making this stuff where most of the natives wandered around the desert and they, foraged their food from whatever was around them. So there you go. Here's a Zuni girl. They were known for making these woven baskets with unique designs, as you can see this one is. It says here from the something threshing floor. I don't know what it says, but anyway. Yeah, they would grow. They grew a lot of crops. They were more adapt to being farmers. Growing crops. Yeah, agrarian, staying in one spot, having small cities and towns and villages.
And they would, when you said they're known for their weaving of baskets and all other kinds of items too.
Yes. Oh yeah, clay pots.
So they were known for their weaving, but also their pottery too. Yes.
And you can see by this gal, she has a basket right here of quite the nice looking basket with some unique design on it. And she's dressed out in her moccasins. Looks like a homemade dress of some sort, sewn together by some leather craft of some sort, some beads. Picking fruit from a tree. I don't know what kind of fruit that would be. Not sure. Anybody else know? Let me know. Yeah. So there we go. Here's one. As you can see, she's carrying the pot on her head. Kind of like you've seen them in the movies with the Africans carrying them on their head. That's the thing. These you may be worlds apart, but people still think of the same ideas. Of course, again, this has a unique design on it. Really, looks like a snake of some sort with the scales. I don't think it'd be a fish, but it does look like a snake. And this might be the head of the snake or a bird up here. So there you go. Some more with they have this one says tipping San Juan, gossiping in San Juan. I can't read the bottom writing, but as you can see here, they got big pots. They're probably collecting water. Very unique design there too. Is if we really blow it up and get right in there, there's quite the design. And I'm sure these are homemade clay pots because they didn't get to go downtown and just buy a few. You know what I mean? But when you really look at them, they look very how do I want to say? It doesn't look like they're one's really bigger than the other. It's oblong, and you know what I'm saying? They look uniform. So there you go. Looks like bowl cut haircuts. Kind of reminds me of the Stooges. Moving right along. So man, he is making something here. I don't know what he's making. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Warrior of some kind. Let's see. Here they are climbing up a ladder to get in their house. Now, they would build stories of houses. And in these houses, like you would have one group of people, they're basically apartment buildings. A lot of times they didn't have, back in the day, they didn't have doors on the bottom. So you just had a door on the top and you crawl down the ladder to get up the stairs. And this one here looks like they got windows. This must be a more modern one because they got windows and doors and Still using a ladder, though. Still using a ladder. Some young boys. Today, that would not be considered handicap accessible. This is In the Gray Morning. In the Gray Morning, it's labeled. Again, another girl with a clay pot gathering water at the stream. I mean, if we blow this up, we can really see the detail in that pot that she has. Very interesting. You know, she wears quite the beads and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Of course, you're out in the desert there. You see these big rocks. You know, just amazing. You know, the energy in those rocks. You know, just I don't know if you guys have gotten to be near rocks like that, but when you do, it just makes you feel so tiny. This one here is into IN something Grifton Rock, I guess, something like that. But the natives really felt that these rocks or outcrops like this held special power. Yeah, it's got anybody not OSHA approved. Okay, we're gonna move on. As you can see, they made stairs. Look at that, logs. There were steps, and you know, quite the adobe. Yeah, I mean, really, this is a pretty good. I bet you this building's probably still standing today. The Kiva Stairs. There you go. Here's man in a burrow. What is he carrying? A load of fuel for the Zuni. Yeah. You know, everything you wouldn't be finding, you know, you got to have fuel. Because you're burning your fires, you know, heating your house. We take it all for granted because we just get LP or we get oil or gas or electricity. Do you know to this day that most of these people who live on the Navajo reservation and things like that, the Zuni reservation, 60% of them don't even have electricity yet. They still live in the traditional way. Yeah, if they want to or not.
Well, it's because the reservation is a separate entity, and so American corporations can't go on there. Where like out here in the country, if you want electricity, they'll bring down a pole and put in the wire. But on a reservation, they go, well, you know, you're a reservation. We can't help you. So there's that too.
Kind of sad.
Well, but the Indians asked for it. Yeah, I gotta say they asked for it. You know, but some of the more progressive these days are, you know, are arguing with some of the elders in the tribal councils, and that, you know, and their argument is, if you let them in with one thing, they'll be in here with everything. So
this is true. This is true. This is definitely true. Here's a man. He's doing a ceremony of some sort. Again, on the top of a mountaintop. Gotta love some of these pictures. I mean, here's another guy. You know, most of these pictures are taken like in the early 1900s when, you know, most of these people, you know, were still wild, you know, I should say. I don't know how to explain it, but compared to nowadays, they had, you know, their great-grandfathers had, you know, lived off the land and didn't even know what a white man was. This one's called An Offering at the Waterfall. You know, I think we don't take things so seriously anymore. Like I said, these people honored the water. You know, he is giving an offering at the waterfall for who knows what. The water he gets from there, the life-giving nutrients, you know, all that good stuff. Today, we just turn on a faucet and we complain because it ain't running fast enough. oh, we don't have enough water pressure. The water ain't hot enough when I go to take a shower or something. I mean, these guys were taking baths in cold lakes, and you'd have to wait till the water warmed up in the summer to take a warm bath. So we should be more thankful for what we have. That's all I can say.
I know I am.
Yes, we gotta be thankful. Now here's another one. He's doing some kind of spiritual dance that says an offering to the sun, and he is waving some feathers. We don't think about the sun either. We don't think about how the sun affects us. I was just watching something today, and it was talking about how the sun therapy could, sun can cure a lot of our diseases and things just because it's light therapy. I mean, it was there to help us heal the different rays of the sun. I mean, you're not maybe supposed to go out there in the sun 24/7, but being in the sun was a prescribed thing by doctors 100 years ago. Take that kid out in the sun for a little while. That'll fix him up. Remember those things? You probably remember that.
Yep. That picture there, I want to add to it in that he may not be doing praising the sun. He may be doing a ceremony at sunrise, or a ceremony at sunset, but it may not be a direct sun ceremony.
Yes. Well, I was just reading.
Because I understand, but there are folks who are like, they look at a picture like that and they go, well, every time I see a picture like that, they're worshiping the sun. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
They use the sun as part of their prayer.
Yes. Well, sun is all life-giving. I mean, like I said, we forget about things like the sun and what it does for us. We just skim over that and take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, that's the bad part. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say with that. Anyway, here's another one. This one says cloud yellow. I can't read it. Cloud yellow. Must be the guy's name, Cloud Yellow. Here's another one. This one is on the Rio Grande. Again, there they are getting some water. They got some pots. Zoom into that pot there and see what it says. Look, there's a bull on there, or a cow of some sort, and a bird. Some nice design. She's scooping some water into it. The other one's got a gourd. It looks like a gourd, a handheld gourd. Getting water down at the river. You know what I mean? So, speaking of gourds and pots and cups, don't forget to go over to Nina's channel and click on the link that'll take you to her merch, where she now has a mug with the Milky Way Soul Tribe on it there. She's got some new merch, shirt for the Soul Tribe and stuff like that. Go over there, some shorts. It's all good stuff. Go check it out. You too can have your own piece of history. Here's a guy. What does it say on this guy? He is the duck white summer something. duck white. Huh. Okay. Wish they'd give you more information. And there we go. The potter. So there you go, making pottery. I gotta give him credit because the pots are beautiful and they're done up really nice. You know how hard that is to make a pot like that with the thin edge without it busting to pieces.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah. A lot of work.
Yeah, and then painting beautiful things on it. You know, I guess. I don't know what these people are doing. Cooking something? Burners? Pottery. It says pottery burner. Well, I suppose you gotta heat that clay up until it bakes. I have no idea how they're doing that.
I do.
You do? Well, why don't you give us a little fun?
You put leaves and stuff on the bottom with some sticks and twigs, and then you lay a grouping of pots on that. And then you cover those with some more straw, leaves, twigs, sticks, and a little bit bigger wood. And then you put another layer of stuff on it and put it around it, and you stuff it full of more leaves and things. And then you make a big pile and then you set it on fire. And
wow.
You keep the fire burning. It's got to reach a certain temperature. So, but you keep an eye on it and you fan it to make sure that it burns as hot as possible. But then you keep an eye on, you can watch the fire change colors and you'll know whether or not you got it hot enough for the pottery. So, but they'll stand around and add more wood if they need to. But then as the fire burns down, they'll carefully go in and scrounge around in the ashes and get the pots out.
Oh, nice.
They still use that technique today.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, we learned something tonight. Yeah, I guess you can see the stuff, and I guess leaves would burn with a lot of smoke and stuff there. Nice. I want to try that. If I find some clay, I'm going to make. So, everybody, I got my seeds ordered for the Odysee beans, and they have arrived, and I can't wait to start planting them. So, there you go. Okay, here's another girl. She seems pretty young. Lots of beads on her. As you can see, probably all homemade. Some sort of beads. I don't know what it says. She said it says flower morning. Flower morning. Oh, their haircut, just a bowl cut straight across. I'm surprised they didn't have longer hair. Did you notice that? Her hair is just bobbed off.
That's but out there in the desert, it's hot.
I imagine. Let's see. This one says something about pottery. Sand something pottery. But again, with the nice designs, as you can see. Beautiful designs. I mean, talk about some handy craftsmanship artistry. You don't see that kind of stuff throughout the native lands, like when the guys were painting the teepees and stuff. Their artwork was a lot different than this. They did more stick people, and this is more intricate, like Aztec stuff. Don't you think?
I can't see it real well. I've got a small screen with my cell phone.
Oh, okay. Here's some unpainted pottery. Beautiful, though. I mean, I love the bowls. Someday I'm going to get one of those things like that just for shits and giggles. Here's a native climbing up a rock. Don't know what it says. Says here, the Sentinel is native attire. Scotty boy, is that short enough pants for you? I don't think those are pants, but either way, Scotty boy would be right in there saying, yep, that's for me. You'd fit right in, birthday or no birthday.
So what's a sentinel?
A lookout. You know.
Thank you. Oh, I already knew, but there are folks who don't know what a sentinel is.
Oh,
and you say, well, that's a sentinel. So it's an Indian. So what? No, he's the lookout. Oh.
Yeah.
So I just, you know me, and bring up weird stuff.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's what we're here for. Let's see, more pueblos, more buildings. As you can see in the background, Christianity has invaded them, and probably the parish, the priest's house. So back here, we can tell this is in the early 1900s with the horse-drawn sickle mower right here. I know what that is. It's a sickle mower, number 9, McCormick Deering, or number 8, one or the other. Maybe it's a 6. No, I think it's maybe it's a 6. Anyway, pueblos here, made out of stucco and adobe, and lady carrying a pot on her head. She's probably coming back from the river with some water. Like I said, the priest, he lives over there in the missionary or whatever in the church. And as you know, the Spanish came along and converted all these people. At least they tried to convert them all over to Christianity. But some of them survived to do their own native stuff. And this one says the Tila dancers and bringing. Wish I could read these better. Tila dancers and something. I don't know. Midnight. N-I-N-G-E-R. Nigers. Anyway. Okay. Looks like they got a whole troop of them there. Dancers and drummers making music the old-fashioned way, everybody.
Now, they might have been converted by the Catholics, but they still did their drummings, and that was a major contention all through the days of putting them on the reservations. They still won't comply. Well, they'd go to church on Sundays, but then they'd still have their powwows and they'd still have their dances. Oh, and that would just tick off them Methodists and so forth. Really, I mean, they just whoa.
No.
And I'm glad they didn't lose it all.
Yes, I'm glad too. I hope they really carry on their traditions because, so many natives lost a lot of stuff, and even if they don't have electricity and modern conveniences, really in the long run, they're the lucky ones, right?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, but I've heard that a year or two ago, a couple of friends of mine in the powwow circuit, they were like, elders, in their 80s, and they were like, the remark was that they were pleased to see some of the younger folk coming back. Yeah. That they'd went out, they had, sort of like the Mormons, they go out and experience life, and then, after 2 years they can come back or whatever, So, but it's that, they've experienced the white man's world, and then for whatever triggers them, they decide to go back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's good. That's good. Here's another Pueblo. Might be the one I got in my background. But as you can see, the different layers. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. You're 6. Wow. That's quite the stack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Quite a stack of houses. If you blow some of this stuff up, like this thing here, that looks like an oven. Like you would bake something in there. Or maybe these things are chimneys? I don't know.
Oh, you mean that round
You know,
thing
like here? Would that be a...
on the left?
Yeah.
On the
this
bottom
thing.
left? Oh, yeah, I'm sure that was an
Yeah.
oven. They baked bread in there.
Yeah. And these other things, are these chimneys? See these round things with like a pot on top? Would that be a chimney for the house?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Very cool. Here's some dancers or whatever they. This one is Teesquam Buffalo Dancers. Buffalo Dancers. And there they are, all dressed up, ready. Rattles, buffalo heads, horns, arrows and spears. This is a bow. This is a bow. I think that's a bow right here. And some branches, looks like tree branches, and big medals.
In the dances,
that's pretty interesting.
They would depict a buffalo and the hunter. And so one of them is the hunter disguised as the buffalo, and the other is the buffalo in the dance.
I see. Huh. Very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, very neat.
So the buffalo dance is about how the buffalo was hunted, and then later on how it was hunted to extinction.
Yeah, I was hunted to extinction, exactly. Just to let you know, do you notice all these people in the pictures? None of them are like, ginormous.
Yep.
People back in the day, people were normal size. Here's a lady or a guy. I don't know. So it doesn't say. Can't read it. Here's some people more getting water, or they're cleaning some grain or something here, or dirt of some sort. I don't know. Do you know what they're doing?
Panning for gold.
No, I don't think that's gold. It looks like they got water.
No, that's the sand.
Dirt.
You wash the sand and get the gold nuggets out of the sand. They wash the rocks and then the sand, and you wash it and pan it, spin the pan, and let all the sand or whatever. Not to say it is, but it looks sort of like he's panning for gold there. I don't know what's in those pans. So, but probably they are washing some kind of, maybe they're washing corn or something.
Could be. Here's another girl. Boy, she's got the jewelry. Doesn't she?
Bling, bling.
Bling, bling is right. More pots. Let's see what kind of pots they have on their heads. If these girls were around today and they were carrying pots on their heads like this, we'd almost believe that they were Muslim or something. Or whatever.
Almost.
But, see how cultures are so far away and yet they're here. You can see this one's got some kind of, looks like houses or blocks, and this one's got animals on it. Cows or sheep or buffalo. Smaller animals right here. Deer, I guess. I don't know. This one here, I don't know what this one's about. But either way, very nice. Very nice. Here's a guy, headband. Looks like a warrior guy. Mother and her child walking down between the Pueblo buildings, the adobes. Another lady with a pot on her head. And this one's all decorated up too. Notice she has this band that the pot sits in on top of her head. Whereas the other ones, the pot just sat on their head. And that is the end of my slideshow, everybody. How about that one? And so, boom, boom, boom. I'm trying to get back to my. Oh, let's see. So we were talking about the Navajo people, the Deni. Let's see. I think we went through this a little before. The people, they're the largest federally recognized Native American tribe in the U.S. With a population of over 400,000 people today. We're just going to go back through some of these. Their ancestors migrated from the Athabascan region from Canada, Alaska, around 1,000 years ago, and settled in the Southwest. At least that's what the scientists say. You can believe wherever they. I don't. I think they came from the South, more from the southern regions. But who?
And not only that, but they were there a lot sooner than that.
Yes, I agree.
They were there a lot longer. But go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we know by their rich oral traditions that they say they emerged from the underworld, and kind of like the other Puebloan cultures, the Hopi. So who's to say where they actually came from? We're talking about the Navajo, but anyway, of course, we talked a little bit about Kit Carson and how they went on the long walk. For thousands were forcibly marched for over 300 miles to Bosco Redondo. I was saying that all week in my head. Bosco Redondo in New Mexico under military orders, and many died. And of course, those who survived, they got put in an internment camp. Great. And yet, the Navajo still participated in World War II, where they became code talkers and saved our butts. Believe it or not, they're recognized in history and with the unbreakable code to help the U.S. in the Pacific.
The Navajo.
Yeah. And of course, today, they're trying to work to preserve their culture, their language. They have one of the largest reservations in the U.S., spanning through Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, as we recognize that as the Four Corners region. Let's see. Their philosophy emphasizes harmony and balance and beauty in life. Of course, that's what I enjoy about these tribes. Balance and beauty. Their traditions of economy is based on sheep herding and weaving and silversmithing and making pottery, of course. As we've seen through some of these things, they were making pottery, beautiful pottery. And let's see, of course, they have a tribal government. And they live on their reservation. Like you said, they're kind of sheltered from the rest of the world. It's like having a country inside of a country.
Yes, it is.
Have vast lands with lots of minerals on it, and the government's trying to always get it, so hopefully they can keep it. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the Zuni tribe, and the Zuni people are one of the other Puebloan tribes of the Southwest, and of course their ancestry dates back over 4,000 years. Unlike the Navajo, the Zuni did not migrate from elsewhere, and they've always lived in the same region of western New Mexico. See, so I just don't understand that, how you can say one culture migrated and the next culture lived there for thousands of years, but yet they're very, very similar. And I suppose that's because they live in the desert, and you would just pick up those habits. The Zuni, of course, the Zuni, they speak Zuni, a unique language, unrelated to any other known language. Did you know that?
I thought so.
They first met up with the Spanish in 1539. The Zuni were among the first tribes encountered by Spanish explorers. Coronado, and he came along and just tried to destroy him. Of course, took advantage of him. He was looking for that 7 cities of gold, which he never found. He thought for sure he would find it, but all he did was find a bunch of Pueblos and a bunch of natives who, they could convert to Christianity and, steal their crops and keep looking for that city of gold, but they never found it. And of course, they made them slaves, and eventually in 1680, the natives revolted and they expelled the Spanish for at least 12 years, believe it or not. Pretty successful they were. Today, the Zunis are known for their exceptional craftsmanship, especially in jewelry, carvings, and pottery. Today, their reservation remains in the western New Mexico, where they maintain a strong cultural identity. Of course, but see, that's the bad part. We nowadays, I think we associate a lot of these people with their arts and crafts. We don't even think about natives, and we think of them like this because they're dancing around giving us a show, like the good old days. But and then we buy some trinkets because they're, oh, look, they're wearing this big medallion and they got these cool beads and they live in these adobe huts and look at, they're coming out to dance. Let's buy some of those little, before the natives used to buy the beads from us, and now we're buying the beads from them. Let's buy some of those rhinestones, and you know what I mean? Let's buy some of those pots. They're carrying on their heads. I can see that. It's kind of sad. Despite the modern influences, Zuni have retained their language and their traditions better than other tribes, largely due to their geographic isolation. Of course, their origins, Navajo, will just do the comparisons of this. Navajo migrated from the north, while the Zuni have lived in the south for thousands of years. Now, I don't understand how they can figure all this out, but maybe I'm going to have to look into that. The Navajo language is Athabascan. Maybe that's how they figure it out, which is related to the Apache, whereas the Zuni is a linguistic isolate, they say. So does that mean the Apache came from the north too? I don't know. First, the Zuni encountered Spanish explorers the first, while the Navajo had later conflicts with the U.S. Army. Yes, the Long March. Cultural stuff. Both tribes have worked hard to maintain their traditions, but the Zuni have retained their language at a higher rate. Well, yeah, they're kind of unique at that. And if they live in the middle of nowhere, it just makes sense, doesn't it? It's always something. Let's see. Zuni people, where do they live? Where do they come from? Zuni, a Native American tribe. They're part of the Pueblo cultures. Where does Zuni live? Primarily in western New Mexico. The Zuni Pueblos. We looked at a lot of these pictures of the Pueblos. Where did their oral traditions come from? They emerged from the underworld, kind of like the Hopi, through a sacred location known as Chimney Rock. I'm sure you all heard of that place. Archaeological evidence suggests they are descendants of the ancestral Puebloans, or the Anasazi, who lived in the Four Corners region of Colorado, Utah, and Arizona before migrating to their current location. Always migrating. Customs and rituals. course, they have lots of things like that going on. They have a Shaklo ceremony, a year-end religious event where tall masked kachinas dancers bring blessings for the new year. I'm sure we all have seen those kachinas dancing around. That's kind of how we know these people. And that's really, shouldn't be all we know them by is about these kachina people running around and some of these, things like that. We should know them for more than that. We know them for rain ceremonies and rituals to summon rain for crops. Who hasn't said when they were a little kid, I'll just do the rain dance, Dad, and rain will come. I watched it on TV. It should be easy. They're known for the Kiva societies and secret religious groups that hold spiritual healing ceremonies. And maybe that's where they do some of that ayahuasca stuff. They're known for carvings of guardian spirits used for protection and guidance. And of course, Zunis were generally peaceful farmers and traders, and they didn't fight against invaders most of the time. The Spanish came. The Zunis were one of the first tribes to resist the Spanish rule, of course. And they participated in the Pueblo Revolt, which was great. And the Apache and the Navajo conflicts. They occasionally fought off Apaches and Navajo raiders who sought their crops and livestock. Well, of course, because that's what those other groups did. They were just raiders. The Zuni had few battles with the U.S. Army, so it wasn't a big thing. And mostly they had a lot of resistance to the Spanish. Of course, the Spanish were kind of bad. The Pope in 1680, a Pueblo leader from the Tiwa people who helped lead the Pueblo Revolt, in which the Zuni also participated. So anyway, yeah, so let's see. And modern Zuni governors. Today, the Zuni have elected leaders who work with the U.S. government to manage their lands and affairs. Where are the Zuni today? The Zuni Pueblo remains a strong and self-sufficient community in New Mexico, and the tribe has much of its own language and traditions, unlike many other Native American groups. We know that for sure. They are known for the pottery and jewelry. We went over that, especially their turquoise and silver. Turquoise, that was what I was thinking. I was thinking something else. Jade. Why was I thinking jade? I don't know. Anyway, I hope you all like that little bit about them. It ain't a whole lot, but oops, that's not what I wanted. Up there, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Anyway, let's see if I can do this. Stop sharing. That's the button I wanted to hit. There we go. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that little bit. Big Dad Standing Tall, thank you for coming tonight. Anyway, got a big crowd in here. Dragon Stage, thank you. John Price, thank you for coming in. He says pig farmers. I missed that. Let's see, Dragon Sage. Who else is here? Joanne Dancing Gypsy. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. Anyway, David will be here with us in a minute, and he's got a good story. Hopefully his voice will hold out for reading. Otherwise, I got some Navajo Indian myths somewhere where I can do the reading. And Lucky Stone is here. He's listening, like always. Thank you. I'm here too. Yeah. Anyway, it's been really fun researching the Navajo and the natives out west there with their traditions, the Hopi with their prophecies. But I think all of them had some sort of prophecies, no matter which tribe you went to, they all had some sort of prophecy because they did a lot of spiritual stuff. I'm amazed at how, they knew so many things and they were so spiritual, yet we don't give them credit for that. you know that's the thing. We don't give them credit. How do I want to put this? We don't give them credit because we in our society we all think that it's God and you gotta have angels and messengers and all of these things to learn anything. But over there, they would go through a ritual, a cleansing, and then they would ask for a message, and the message would be downloaded into them, and that's how they got their information. And I think that was a good thing. Whereas today we just want the information. We don't want to go through a ritual. We just ask. Ask ChatGPT and he will give it to you. Ask Siri or whoever that other one is. Who is that other one that you have in your house that answers all your questions? But anyway, we just ask and it comes, and we don't try to pay any dividends for it. I guess that's what it boils down for me is you can't get something for nothing, and nothing comes way too easy. And if it comes too easy, is it really true? That's a good question. And you have to work for the truth. If you want something good, you have to put in the time and the effort to get it. Nothing comes without a price of some sort. I mean, remember, they would give offerings to the spirit, a little tobacco, a little meat, a little bit of this, praise to as we watched in one of these pictures here where this guy here was talking to the sun. Oops, I didn't present that one. And he's talking to the sun, but what is he talking for? I mean, look at he's doing something, and I don't know, offering to the sun. I mean, when was the last time that you gave thanks for the sun for giving you food on your table and anything else? You didn't. That's the bad part. You didn't do any of that, but yet you still expect it. I guess we all do. We just don't think about it. So, anyway, with all of that, as soon as David gets back, and we'll get on with the show here. But yeah, I think about this stuff quite often. You're back. Hello?
That was me.
Yes. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Barry calling me.
The what? Oh.
It was Barry calling me.
Oh. What book are we reading? I mean, I know what book we're reading from, but what story is this? Get on with that.
Hang on a second. Let me get this back up.
Yeah.
Oh, April Fools, everybody. I'm the president of the United States for the rest of the day.
Hail to Hawkeye, the president of the United States.
Graybeard.
All of it. Good job. We
are on, where is it? Anthropology. Okay, yeah. The Wandering of the Hopi is the next one, and it's on page 16.
Oh. I am way off. There we go.
Are you on the right book?
Oh, yeah. I'm on the right page now. I was like about 6 pages above it.
Oh, Traditions of the Hopi. Yep.
Yep, absolutely. Don't you worry. I know how to find pages. You just take your time. If you can't make it through, it's all right too.
What? Oh, is it story?
Yeah. So just do your best.
Let me get a throat lozenge and kind of start off with that. Yeah, I just won't be projecting very loud. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can turn up your volume a little bit too so people can hear you.
All right. I can usually blast you out to the back wall, but
Yep.
not tonight. I'm going to be a little softer.
Yeah, that's all right. There, I turned it up. Everybody, I hope you all can hear him. Let me know if you can.
All right, let me do
a little bit.
Let me do a testing. The Wanderings of the Hopi. Can you hear me?
Okay. I need to show hands out there.
5 by 5?
Chloe says. Chloe says he's fine. We'll go with that. Chloe knows. It's all you.
All right, it's all mine. Okay. So we are continuing our story time with the story from the book, The Traditions of the Hopi by H.R. Voth, V-O-T-H, from 1905, well over 120 years ago. Our story is The Wanderings of the Hopi. A very long time ago, they were living down below. Everything was good there at that time. That way of living was good down there. Everything was good. Everything grew well. It rained all the time. Everything was blossoming. That is the way it was. But by and by, it became different. The chiefs commenced to do bad. Then it stopped raining. And they only had very small crops, and the winds began to blow. People became sick. By and by, it was like it is here now. And at last, the people participated in this. They too began to talk bad and to be bad. And then those who have not a single heart, the sorcerers, that are very bad, began to increase and became more and more. The people began to live the way we are living now, in constant contentions. Thus, they were living. Nobody would listen anymore. They became very bad. They would take away the wives of the chiefs. The chiefs, hereupon, became angry, and they planned to do something to the people, to take revenge on them. They began to think of escaping. So a few of the chiefs met once and thought and talked about the matter. They had heard some sounds away up as of footsteps, as if somebody was walking there. And about that, they were talking. Then the Kipmungwi, who had heard the sounds above, said they wanted to investigate above and see how it was there. And then, if the one above there wanted them to, they wanted to try to go out. So the others were willing to, that they wanted to find out about that. And then, if they were permitted, they wanted to move up there. So they were now thinking, who should find out? So they made a Pawakoaya, sang over it, and thus brought it to life. Why do you want me? The bird said. Yes, the chief said. We are not living well here. Our hearts are not light, and they are troubling us here. And now I have been thinking about these few children of mine here, and we want to see whether we can find some other way of living. Away above there, somebody seems to be walking. And now we thought maybe you could go up there and see about that and find out for us. And that is the reason why we want you. All right, the Pawakoya said. All right, I shall go up there and find out about it. Hereupon the chief planted a local species of pine or fir tree, but they saw that it did not reach up, but that its point was turning downward. Hereupon they planted a reed by the side of the pine that reached up. They then told the Pawakoya to go up now, and if he should find anybody, to tell him, and then if he were willing, they would go. So the Pawakoya ascended, flying in circles upward around these two ladders. When he came up to the top, he found an opening there, through which he went out. After he came out, he was flying about and around, but did not find anybody. So he returned to the opening again, and he came down. As he was very tired, he fell down upon the ground before the chiefs. When he was somewhat revived, they asked him, Now what have you found out? Yes, he said, I went through there, and there was a large space there, but I did not find anybody. When I did not find anybody, I became hungry and thirsty and very tired. So I have come back now. Dishahof. Oh, they said. Very well. Now who else will go? And they were thinking, somebody else shall go, they said. And they kept thinking about that. So they made another one, but this time a small one. And they were singing over it. It became alive. When it became alive, they saw that it was a hummingbird, Toacha, which is very small, but very swift and strong. Why do you want me? The bird said. Yes, they said. Our children here are not with good hearts. We are not living well here. We are living here in trouble. So we want you to go up there for us and see what you can find out of. And if the one up there is kind and good, we think of going up there, and that is the reason why we want you. So you go up there, you hunt somebody, and if he is gentle and kind, we shall go up there. So the Tohocha flew upward, circling around the two trees, went through the opening and flew around and around, and not finding anybody, also became tired and came back. He flew lower and lower and alighted in front of the chiefs, exhausted. When he had somewhat revived, they asked him, "Now then, what have you heard? What have you found out?" "Yes," he said. "Yes, I flew around there and way and became tired and exhausted and have come back." They said again, "And now then we shall send somebody else." Then they created another one and sang over it. But this time they had made a larger one. And when they had chanted their song over it, it became alive, and it was a hawk. "Keisha, why do you want me?" the hawk also said. "Yes," they replied. "Yes, these our children do not listen to us. They worry us, and we are living in trouble here. And that is why we want you. You go up there and find out for us and inform us." So the hawk flew up also, passed through the opening, and circled around for some time in the space above the opening. But he also became tired and returned exhausted. So when he was somewhat revived, they asked him, "What did you find out?" And he told them the same as the others had, that he had not found anyone. "Yeshai," they said, "we shall try it once more." So they made another one and sang over it again. While they were singing over it, it became alive, and it was the Motstini. "Why do you want me?" the latter asked. "Yes," they said, "our children here do not listen to us. They have hard hearts, and we are living in trouble here. So we have been thinking of leaving here, but these here have not found anybody there. So you go up too, and you find out for us. And if you find someone there who is kind and gentle and has a good heart, why, you tell us, and we shall go up there." So he flew up too, and having passed through the opening, he kept flying around and looking about, as he was very strong. Finally, he found a place where the Orabi now is, but there were no houses there yet. And there somebody was sitting, leaning his head forward, and as the Motsni came nearer, he moved it to the side a little. Finally, he said, "Sit down. You that are going around here, sit down. Certainly, you are going around here for some reason. Nobody has seen me here yet." "Yes," the Motsni said. "Down below we are not living well, and the chiefs there have sent me up here to find out. And now I have found you. And if you are kind, we have thought of coming up here, since I now have found you. Now you say, you tell me if you are willing, and I shall tell them so, and we will come up here." This one whom the Motsni had found was Skeleton, Masawau. "Yes," he said. "Now this is the way I am living here. I am living here in poverty. I have not anything. This is the way I am living here. Now, if you are willing to live here that way too with me and share this life, why come, you are welcome." "All right," the Motsni said. "Whatever they say down there, whatever they say, now I shall be off." "All right," Skeleton said, whereupon the Motsni left. So he returned and descended to where the chiefs were sitting. But this one did not drop down, for he was very strong, and came flying down to them. "What have you found out?" they asked the bird. "Yes," he said, "I was up there, and I have found him a way off. But it is with you now. He also lives there poorly. He has not much. He is destitute. But if you are satisfied with his manner of living, why, you are welcome to come up there." "All right," they said, and were happy. So that is the way he is saying. So he is kind. We are welcome, and we are going. At that time, there were all kinds of people living down there. The white man, the Paiute, the Pueblo. In fact, all the different kinds of people except the Zuni and the Kohonio, who have come from another place. Of all these people, some whose hearts were not very bad had heard about this, and they had now assembled with the chiefs. But the greater part of the people, those whose hearts were very bad, were not present. They now decided that they would leave. The chiefs told them that in 4 days they were to be ready to leave. So during the 4 days, those who knew about it secretly told some of their friends whose hearts also were at least not very bad, that after 4 days they were going to leave. So the different chiefs from the different kinds of people assembled with small parties on the morning of the 4th day, after they had had their morning meal. They met at the place where they were appointed to meet, and there were a good many. "We are a great many," the chief said. "Maybe there will be some here among them whose heart is not single. Now, no more must come. This is enough." So they commenced to climb up the reed. First, the different chiefs, the village chief, Kikmungwi, who was also at the same time the Soyomungwi, the flute chief, Youngmungwi, horn chief, Almungwi, agave chief, Kwanmungwi, singer chief, Taomungwi, Wuwuchim chief, Kelmungwi, rattlesnake chief, Tukmungwi, antelope chief, Tukmungwi, Marawawi chief, Marawawumungwi, Lagun chief, Lagun Mungwi, and the warrior chief, Kalitak Mungwi, or Punkang. And then the people followed, and a great many went out. By this time, the people in the lower world had heard about this, and they now came crowding from all sides towards the trees. When the Kikmungwi above there saw that so many were coming, he called down to stop. Some of those Papwatuk, he said, are going to come up too, I think. So that is enough. Stop now. He then commenced to pull up the reed so that a great many people that were still on it dropped back. So they now moved on a little bit to the rim or edge of the opening, and there they gathered. And there were a great many of them. The Kikmungwi now addressed them and said, "Now this many we have come out. Now we shall go there, but we want to live with a single heart. Thus long we have lived with bad hearts. We want to stop that. Whatever that one there," referring to the Motsni, "tells us, we want to listen to, and the way he says we shall live." Thus he instructed them. In a little while the chief of the chief, a small boy, became sick and died. "Ishoohi," the chief said, "a Pawaka has come out with us." And they were thinking about it. Then he made a small ball of fine meal and threw it upward, and it alighted on the head of a maiden. So he went there and grabbed her, saying, "So you are the one. On your account, my child has died. I shall throw you back again." He then lifted her to the opening. "I am going to throw you down there," he said. "You have come out with us, and we shall now live in the same way here again." But she did not want to. "No," she said, "you must not throw me down. I want to stay with you, and if you will contend with one another again, I shall always talk for you, be on your side. Now you go and look down there, and you will see your child going around down there." So he looked down, and there he saw his child running around with the others. "That is the way it will be," the maiden said to the chief. "If anyone dies, he will go down there, and he will remain there only 4 days. And after the 4 days, he will come back again and live with his people." Whereupon the chief was willing that she should remain, and he did not throw her down, but he told her that she could not go with them right away. When they should leave, when they had slept after the first day, she might follow them. So she remained there near the opening. Hereupon Pukong looked around all over, and he found out that towards one side it was always cold. It was at this time dark yet, so Spider Woman, Kokang Wuti, took a piece of white native cloth, owa, and cut a large round piece out of it, on which she made a drawing. She was assisted by the flute priest. They sang some songs over it, and Spider Woman then took the disc away towards the east. Soon they saw something rise there, but it had not become very light yet, and it was the moon. So they said they must make something else. Spider Woman and the flute priest then took a piece of buckskin, cut a circular piece out of it, and made on it a drawing of the sun symbol, as it is still used by the flute priest today. They sang over this, whereupon Spider Woman took that away, and in a little while something rose again, and now it became light and very warm. But they had rubbed the yolks of eggs over this sun symbol, and that is what makes it so very light. And that is why the chickens know when it is light and yellow in the morning, and crow early at the sunrise, and at noon, and in the evening. And now they know all about the time. And now the chief and all the people were happy because it was light and warm. The chiefs now made all the different kinds of blossoms and plants and everything. They now thought of starting and scattering out. The language then spoken was the Hopi language. This language was dear and sacred to the Hopi chief, and he wanted to keep it alone to himself and for the Hopi, but did not want the people who would scatter out to take this language along. And so he asked the mockingbird, Yafi, who talks everything, to give to the different people a different language. This the mockingbird did, giving it to one party one language, to another party another language, and so on, telling them that these languages they should henceforth speak. Hereupon they sat down to eat a common meal, and the chief laid out a great many corn ears of different lengths, which they had brought from the underworld. Now, he said, you choose of these ear corns before you start. So there was a great wrangle over these corn ears, everyone wanting the longest ears, and such people as the Navajo, the Ute, the Apache, etc., struggled for and got the longest corn ears, leaving the small ones for the Hopi. And these the chief took and said, thanks that you have left this one for me. Upon this we are going to live. Now you that took the long corn ears will live on that, but they are not corn. They will be kawakawi like you, and such grasses that have seed. And that is the reason why these people rub out the tassels of those grasses now and live on them. and the Hopi have corn, because the smaller ears were really the corn. The chief had an elder brother, and he selected some of the best foods that tasted well, such as the nuke meats, etc. They were now ready to start, and then the chief and his elder brother talked with each other and agreed that the elder brother should go with the party ahead towards the sunrise. And when he would arrive there, he should touch the sun, at least with his forehead, and then remain there and live there where the sun rises. But they should not forget their brethren. They should be looking this way towards the place where they would settle down. And so Wuti, old woman grandmother, went with each party. Each party also took a stone upon which there were some marks and figures, and that fitted together. They agreed that if the Hopi should get into trouble again and live again the same way as they did in the lower world, the elder brother should come back to them and discover the Pawakas who caused the trouble and cut off their heads. The elder brother and his party started first, and they became the white men as they traveled eastward. The chief and his party started next, both taking a southern route. The maiden that had been found to be a Pawaka and who had been left behind at the opening followed these two parties after they had left. The people whereupon formed different parties, each party following a certain chief, and all traveling eastward. They usually stopped for a longer or shorter periods at certain places, and then they traveled on again. For this reason, there are so many ruins all over the country. The Pueblo Indians also passed through about here where the Hopi now live. The white men were more skillful than the others and got along better. Spider Woman, who was with them, made horses and burros for them, on which they traveled when they got tired. And for that reason, they went along much faster. The party that brought Palakamana with them settled down at Palaquapa, where they lived for quite a while, and these did not yet bear a particular clan name. The other parties traveled different routes and were scattered over the country, each party having a chief of its own. Sometimes they would stay 1, 2, 3, or 4 years at one place, wherever they found good fields or springs. Here they would raise crops so that they had some food to take with them when they continued their journeys, and then moved on again. Sometimes when they found good fields but no water, they would create springs with a biapi. This is a small perforated vessel into which they would place certain herbs, different kinds of stones, shells, a small balalukong, bajos, etc., and bury it. In 1 year, a spring would come out of the ground where this was buried. During this year, before their spring was ready, they would use rainwater because they understood how to create rain. When they continued their journeys, they usually took such a baopi out of the ground and took it with them. Before any of the parties had arrived at the place where the Hopi now lived, they began to become bad. Contentions arose among the parties. They began to war against each other. Whenever a certain party possessed something, another party would attack and kill them on account of those possessions. For that reason, some of them built their villages on top of the bluffs and mesas because they were afraid of other parties. Finally, some of them arrived at Muinkapi. These were the Bear Clan, Spider Clan, Hidestrap Clan, Bluebird Clan, and the Fat Cavity Clan, all of which had derived their names from a dead bear upon which these different parties had come as they were traveling along. While these parties lived near Muinkapi, for some time another party had gone along the little Colorado River, passed by the place that is now called the Great Lakes, and arrived at Shongopavi, where they started a village at the place where now the ruins of old Shongopavi are, east of the present village. These people were also called the Bear Clan, but they were different bear people from those living at Muinkapi about that time. Shongopavi was the first village started. When these bear people arrived at Shongopavi, Skeleton was living at the place where the Oriobi now is, where he had been living all the time. The clan that had stopped northeast of Muinkapi soon moved to the place where the Muinkapi now is, but did not remain there long. The Bear Clan, the Hidestrap Clan, and the Bluebird Clan soon moved on towards Oriabi. When the Spider Clan arrived at Muinkapi, they made marks or wrote on a certain bluff east of Muinkapi, saying that this place should always belong to the Hopi, that no one should take it away from them because there was so much water there. Here, the Hopi should always plant. Soon after, the Spider Clan had moved on towards the Orabi. The Snake Clan arrived. When these snake people saw the writing on the bluff, they said, "Somebody has been writing over there that they wanted to own this. Let us write also that we want to own this over here too." So they wrote the same thing on the bluff. After they had left the place, the burrowing owl clan arrived, and they also wrote the same thing on the bluff. But they all had heard that Skeleton was living where the Oriabi now is, and so they all traveled on towards Oriabi. When the Bear Clan arrived at Nuanguapaki, a place a very short distance west of Kuewanva, Skeleton came to meet them there. "We have arrived here," the Honguwanga said. "We would like to live here with you, and we want you to be our chief. Now, what do you think about it? Will you give us some land?" But Skeleton replied, "No, I shall not be chief. You shall be chief here. you have retained your old life. You will be the same here as you were down in the underworld. Someone that is Powaka has come out with you, and it will be here just the same as it was down there when he comes here. But when the white man, your elder brother, will come back here and cut off the heads of the bad ones, then I shall own all this land of mine myself. But until then, you shall be chief. I shall give you a piece of land, and then you live here. Whereupon he stepped off a large tract of land, going east to where they were, and then descending the mesa west of Kokchimowi, then towards the present trail towards Oriabi, up the trail past the present village site, down the mesa on the west side, along the trail towards the Momoshavi, including that spring, and back up the mesa. This piece of land was allotted to the Bear Clan. The leader of the Bear Clan now asked him where he lived. He said he lived over there at the bluff of Oriabi, and that is where they should live also. So this clan built its houses right east of the bluff of Oriabi, where there are now the ruins. The Bear Clan brought with them the Sorial cult, the Awototo, and the Sorial Kachinas. Soon other clans began to arrive. When a clan arrived, usually one of the new arrivals would go to the village and ask the village chief for permission to settle in the village. He usually asked whether they understood anything to produce rains and good crops, and if they had any cult, they would refer to it and say, yes, this or this we have, and when we assemble for this ceremony, or when we have this dance, it will rain. With this we have traveled, and with this we have taken care of our children. The chief would then say, very well, you come and live in the village. Thus the different clans arrived. First the Hidestrap clan, the Bluebird clan, the Spider clan, and etc. While these different clans were arriving in Oriabi, other clans were arriving at Wildpie and Mishoganovoi and setting up those villages. When a new clan arrived, the village chief would tell them, very well, you participate in our cult and help us with the ceremonies. And then he would give them their fields according to the way they came. And that way their fields were all distributed. One of the first clans to arrive with those mentions was the Bow clan, which came from the southwest. When the village chief asked the leader of this clan what he brought with him to produce rain, he said, yes, I have here the Shalako Kachinas, the Tangit Kachinas, the Tukwanang Kachina, and the Shuakwa Kachina. When they dance, it usually rains. Very well, the village chief said, you try it. So the Awot Wongawa arranged a dance. On the day before the dance, it rained a little. And on the last day, when they had their dance, it rained fearfully. All the washes were full of water. So the village chief invited them to move to the village and gave them a large tract of land. He told them that they should have their ceremonies first. This was the Wu Chim ceremony, the chief of the Bo clan being the leader of this ceremony. So this ceremony was the first one to take place. Then followed the Soyal ceremony in charge of the village chief. And then in the Baho month, the snake and the flute ceremonies, which change about every 2 years. The snake cult was brought by the snake clan, and the antelope cult by the bluebird clan, and the flute clan cult by the spider clan. The lizard, which also arrived from the northwest, brought the Marawu cult, and the parrot clan, the Lagon cult. Others came later. Small bands living throughout the country. When they could hear about the people living in Oriabi, would sometimes move up towards Oriabi and ask for admission to live in the village. In this way, the villages were built up slowly. At that time, everything was good yet. No wicked ones were living in the village at that time. When the Kachinas danced, it would rain, and if it did not rain while they danced, it always rained when the dance was over. And when the people would have their kiva ceremonies, it would also rain. But at that time, they had not so many Kachinas. There were only the Hopi Kachinas, where the Hopi brought them with them from the underworld. They were very simple but very good. People at that time lived happily, but by this time, the Papwaktu had increased at the Palakwapi. The one Pawaka maiden that had come with these people from the underworld had taught others her evil arts. And so these wicked ones had increased very much until finally Palatkawapi was destroyed by a great water produced by the Balulukongs. Nearly all the people were destroyed, but a few succeeded in reaching dry land in the flood, and they were saved. They traveled northeastward and finally came to Matovi, and from there to Walpi. From Walpi, they scattered to the different villages, teaching their evil arts to others. They would put sickness into the people so that the people contracted diseases and died. They also turned the Ute Indians and the Apache, who used to be friends of the Hopi, into their enemies, so that after these tribes would make wars on the Hopi. They also caused contentions among the Hopi. The Navajo also used to be friends with the Hopi, but these Papwaktu would occasionally call the Ute and the Apache to make raids on the Hopi. They were also turned the Navajo into our enemies, and then the white men came and made demands of the Hopi. The white men are also called here by these Papwaktu, and now the white men are worrying the Hopi also. But the Hopi are still looking towards their elder brother, the one that arrived at the sunrise first. And he is looking from there this way to the Hopi, watching and listening how they are getting along. Our old men and ancestors, the Wuwuyum, have said that some white men would be coming to them, but they would not be the white men like our elder brother, and they would be worrying us. They would ask for our children. They would ask us to have our heads washed, baptized. And if we would not do what they asked, they'd beat us and trouble us and probably kill us. But we should not listen to them. We should continue to live like Hopi. We should continue to use the food of the Hopi and wear the clothes of the Hopi. But those Papawaktu of the Hopi would help the white men, and they would speak for the white men because they would also want to do just the same as those white men would ask them to do. And now it has come to that. Our forefathers have been prophesying that we are now in trouble. Our children are taken away from us, and we are being harassed and worried. End of chapter 4. And I think that's the end of me talking too. That was only 10 pages, but for me, that was a long 10 pages. And we're still reading from the traditions of the Hopi. And the next chapter for next week is the origin of some Orabi clans. But that's for next week. Are you there, Mr. Robert? Hiding back there in the back? He probably went to go get coffee and he fell asleep. So, in telling these stories, you know, them bad folks, the Papawaktu, you know, they didn't want any of them, you know, to follow them out of the ground, right? And they threw that one lady, you know, so they were going to throw her down in the hole. And she was like, no, don't throw me down in the hole. I'll be good, you know, and see, there's your children down there running around. And so, but in the long run, the Pakwaktu went around to the different villages and taught their evil ways. So, you know, it's like, well, as much as they tried to be kind, their kindness led to the fact that the Papawaktu are teaching other folks how to do evil. Are you there, Robert? Hello, hello. Nope. My cold is fixing to throw me to the ground.
Are you there? Uh-oh. No, I did not go. I didn't go to sleep. I got a work call, so just bear
That's
with
right.
me.
I'm done for the night.
You're what? Oh yeah, I know you're done. Sorry.
No, I mean I'm done for the night. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, I'm done. I can't do the cards or nothing. I love you all, but that's it.
Okay. Well, I got a work call, and so we'll just end it right there. Sorry, everybody. Um, it's a busy night, and David's got to get some rest. Thank you all for joining us tonight. David, you go get some rest. I ain't even going to ask you if you're going to do a show tonight. You
No,
just
I'm not.
get some sleep and call it a night. Everybody will
Yeah.
be back next week, or well, we'll be back next week for episode 168. Join us there, and David will be feeling much better by then, sure. So
Yep, and I'll do cards then, okay?
yes. Who knows? Maybe if you're feeling better, we'll finish it up in the middle of the week.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, everybody, do something
We
nice.
love you.
Love y'all. Be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Peace, everybody.
Cheers. In the dark.